Alright guys, such Kremp again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Rostermania may not be far away. 2 CDL teams potentially coming into the league. Benji talks about this being a serious possibility as of last night. What does that mean for the future? What these organisations might look to do? But also some drama in terms of who is the best search and destroy player of all time. Dashy was making the case for HyDra, given their history teaming together, and HyDra for many years being considered one of the best search and destroy minds. But Slasher joins the call and says, look, in terms of accolades, in terms of success, it's got to be me. Is there anyone else deserving of this conversation too? Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Congratulations to TJHaLy and their whole family. I thought this was wonderful news yesterday. Drazah though says, quickest match day ever. And yesterday was rapid. And it's funny because yesterday we talked about the plummet era and all the talking points around that. You saw this tweet here from Dashy and Octane, we discussed it, and, well, it's obviously not the same COD player nowadays that we used to be playing back in the day, the 200-meter aim assist and all this stuff you get nowadays. That was not the case back then. Ghosty was talking about it, Octane was talking about it, but, yeah, it was hot 3-0s yesterday. Look, people were discussing, has this been, like, the worst online season ever? I don't really think so, but I do think in large part this season has been carried by OpTic having a chaotic time. I mean, there have been some interesting storylines, Miami improving, bringing in Super, bringing in Raincore, the progress that they have made. Obviously, Thieves struggling on LAN and then putting it together with some crazy online stints. But mainly, these online qualifiers, at this point in the season, I mean, usually it's around April time that people just stop caring about the online qualifiers. And that's at least my experience over the last few years. And I totally don't blame people for feeling that way at all, because it's usually like, well, I'll just tune into the majors, right? Who cares about these meaningless online games? At the start of the year, they matter because everyone wants to see how good the teams are. And then, you know, usually there's some roster changes, Major 1, Major 2. People want to see how their teams are doing in the qualifiers. Sure, I think this year the only reason why the qualifiers have felt, to me, a little bit more interesting than normal is just because, you know, you never know what OpTic Gaming is going to come out the woodworks. They're the reigning world champions. They're the most popular team. And every weekend, you know, there were some crazy timelines where they were just getting 3-0'd by everyone they played, right? I still can't believe that was even possible. And here we are, they made another change, and Mercury's has the highest KD in the league by quite some margin right now with a 1.4. But yeah, these are the overall KDs so far in the qualifiers. Okay, Merc's only played a couple of series. They played one with Skyz, right, where he had a 1.24. So pretty wild that Skyz played one series and is third on the list. But yeah, Mercury's replaced him, and pretty crazy, right? Skyz would probably have thought, like, damn, they replaced me after one series, I dropped to 1.24. There's no way my replacement is going to do any better than that, right? Like, look, not to say that Mercury's didn't make sense as an option anyway, even if he came in and dropped to 1.05, but, you know, Skyz was probably thinking, well, you know, at least I showed up when it mattered. Merc's going to have a hard time topping that, and, well, he's played 2 series so far, and it's been rather good. Super's at a 1.24 as well, Huke's at a 1.24 as well, so it just goes to show that OpTic continue to kind of fry. What do you guys think about Rookie of the Year? It's a question I'll throw out there right now, because Super is actually, yeah, number 3 here. They've excluded Skyz from this list because they only played 1 series, so unlucky, I guess. But, yeah, CleanX, Shotzzy. I mean, the entire team is here. Like, Merc at a 1.4, Huke at a 1.24, Shotzzy at a 1.13, Skyz at a 1.24, and Dashy at a 1.09. Like, the whole OpTic team is on this list. So, pretty wild. CleanX and Insight here as well. But who's Rookie of the Year? And can Mercury's win it? I think that's another question, because Super and Raincore still the front runners. I think there was a time when maybe Xnid could have won it, but like the reality is that Falcons are terrible. So like Xnid, as good as he is, isn't really in that conversation. It's Raincore and Super. Super has been in, look, Super will have had a long enough stint to justify being Rookie of the Year, but Raincore has been in there longer. But Super has probably been, I mean, when Super joins, that really seems like the time they took a step up. So I think you can probably argue it either way. The question that people will say is, okay, could it be Mercury's, right? Like, could he actually win it? But of course, he will have played a major, right? I think this is the point. Had Mercury's just come into OpTic right now, his chances of winning MVP are so slim, because let's not forget, Rookie of the Year, because Rookie of the Year is MVP, I don't know about that one, but you know, Rookie of the Year is decided before Champs, right? So that's when the awards are given out. MVP, Rookie of the Year, they're decided before what they consider to be the post-season. So if he just played a few qualifiers and then Major 4, I mean, he would literally have to win it to be considered Rookie of the Year. He may have to anyway, but just because he's already played one major, came third, right now in the qualifiers looks like Jesus, and then he's going to go to the major. We'll see what happens, right? Like, if OpTic fry at the major, then we're talking, right? Like, maybe Mercules could still win it, but he probably has to make the finals. That's my call anyway. But yeah, intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below, because next year Mercules won't be considered a rookie, because after 3 series you're no longer a rookie. So like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, does it? But still a good question. I think MVP is a good question too. Right now I'm probably giving it to Scrap, but I think you could also give it to Cellium. I don't know, like, HyDra's not far away. Probably depends who wins the last event, let's be real. Just quickly on the Twitch thing, because Ronnie did an article putting this together. We talked about it yesterday, that there's rumours that the YouTube deal is ending after this year, and therefore they're going back to Twitch. But he does describe at the end of the article that if they successfully negotiate a new deal, they'll likely continue the partnership, because well, the partnership has benefited the league in some way. Well, mainly because they actually get some money, because YouTube will pay them exclusively to host it there. Whether that deal makes much sense, whether anyone else, apart from like Kick.com, would come up with a similar deal, probably not. We are going to be back on Twitch for the World Cup, that is true, that was certainly the case last year as well, but it does mean that the teams are able to reach what they consider to be a healthy financial state, because some of the teams now are not paid much money, and the amount of money they get from the YouTube deal basically covers loads of their expenses and have a steady income stream, which is true. So the issue is that, like, back in the day we talked about organizations like OpTic, Thieves, stuff like this, they would probably prefer not to be on YouTube, because they'll say, well, we'll sacrifice the 300 grand or whatever we get from the YouTube deal because it's better for the scene in the longer term. But obviously for most organizations, they're like, well, why would we do that, right? Like, I'm trying to make shareholder value here, and if I'm getting offered a free 300 grand a year, whatever the number is, for the YouTube deal that gets split between the teams, then kind of tough to say no to that. That would be the argument. Certainly that's what Paris Legion would have said back in the day. So read your thoughts in the comments. A couple of interesting things though to share. This was a clip that was doing the rounds. So Dashy was on stream talking about best ever search and destroy player. We're not sure, as we're recording this video, whether HyDra is even still competing anymore. There was a rumor the other day that he just quit and called it a day. He's not tweeted in a few days. So I'm not sure if HyDra's really going to come back or not. But the point stands that HyDra is one of the best search and destroy players ever. His teams have historically been excellent. And we're not even talking just Call of Duty League here. We're talking like pre-CDL, even before he came in, dominating search and destroy tournaments, being such a feared player there, decision making, all this type of stuff. So that was Dashy's argument. I agree more with Sash's argument to say, look, well, in terms of results, in terms of accolades, in terms of success with various different teams in search and destroy, Slash's overall search and destroy style probably does take the cake, but it does depend on your perspective. I'll share a couple of clips and then we'll talk about it.
No, Austin, you actually are.
Not even close, bro.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
bro, no.
This is wait. We're just changing up because you joined the call. Is this Aura? Am I blasted?
Wait, what's the
what's
the resumes? What's the resumes?
I'm taking Ender. I don't know.
Based off what? MW19?
Just him winning me insane amount of primes.
Oh,
10Ks also.
Ender got it. Online COD, Ender got it, sure. Ender wasn't in like the pros like long enough to have a case for it realistically.
So you're doing like longevity, like that's how you're weighing it too.
I'm just saying, like, bro, like so many of my teams have been insane at S&D. It doesn't matter who I'm playing with.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, that is true. Like,
you probably have a good case
I
for it,
went
just because
undefeated
multiple
at an event
eras
with Enable and Octane, who will both tell you.
I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty tip because those motherfuckers are ass at S&D.
That's what I'm saying.
Those motherfuckers are actually ass at that shit.
That's what I'm saying though. In all those eras, all my
if you were successful, yeah, you were successful in every era in search. Yeah, it probably is you. I'll give it to you.
Wow, this is Aura. I'm not gonna lie.
Shit.
Wow. Austin had to join the call, speak up his case. Now everybody's like, yo, long key, yeah, bro. Actually, yeah.
Are you saying team, Austin, you, or individual?
I'm saying like the best S&D player. Like I can make a team good at search.
And that's why that's another reason too I have Ender, because I feel like Ender does the same shit.
Ender can make any
but
team
also individually, he's also the best player. He's the best individual player in the lobby while making his teammates better.
Not the best individual player.
Like in S&D, 100%.
I gotta
in his prime, though.
In his prime, you gotta, yeah. This is
prime S&D.
Pre-Major 1 Vanguard.
Yeah, I think the ending thing is low.
What's up,
bro? He played like 1 year.
That just doesn't matter, bro. People aren't going to look at it that way, and people are just going to be like, "Oh, you're probably a liability," and they're just not going to pick you up. But I still think he has a good mind for the game. So hopefully, if he doesn't compete next year, because his stock is chalked. Maybe he can transition in like a coaching role or something.
If you're someone like FeLo, and the word on the block is we're going to have 2 new franchises potentially coming in, buying out other teams. They might want to clean house, bring their own people in. Look at the LAG situation. What do they want to do? There's been some Vegas staff turnover, and maybe they want to hire more people. There's a staffing opportunity here. If you want to make your transition now, you'll have some leverage because there are new situations you can get into, or existing staffs you can hop on and you start getting that experience and use your expertise. It's not a bad time to do it.
From a purely individual perspective, you could potentially even argue that someone like aBeZy could be the best of a search player just in terms of impact. So many first bloods. But I don't think that really gets across the point of like what makes a great search player. Like the reason why I think Slasher is the answer here is because his teams play in his way. It's not like he's just a player with good numbers in search. It's more like Slasher's whole philosophy and approach, which is, what you might consider the play for picks philosophy to search and destroy, has historically worked out incredibly well on basically every team that he's been on. I mean, even in recent years, Slasher's been a great search player for, we're talking a decade, but even in recent years, let's not forget where Los Angeles Guerrillas somehow won miraculously that Major 2 tournament in Minnesota, beating FaZe in the finals. And during that tournament, they went on something like a 9 or 10 search and destroy win streak. They only really won that tournament by just winning all the game 5s. Then he joined FaZe the following year, and immediately they went on like a crazy search and destroy win streak and broke the record. So, look, I just think Slasher deserves credit for this. It was obviously a matter for conversation, but probably I would give it to Slasher if I had to choose. The other point, though, which potentially is relevant to guys like Slasher, is where we go next from a Rostermania perspective, because we heard rumours a little while ago now that there's a couple of teams interested in getting involved. I think a couple of them were linked to in the replies. Yeah, so we'll get into these teams in a second. The point being that there's still a couple of organisations out there that want to go. Boston, I thought they were going to go last year. That was the big rumour. That never happened in the end. They decided to stay, or they didn't get a good enough offer, whatever. I think Boston will be having conversations about the future of their franchise, especially because this year they're clearly not willing or eager to put any more money in. Don't necessarily blame them. I mean, obviously they made loads of moves last year and none of them really worked. This year they've basically said, yeah, we're just going to stick with the team. Look, there could be upgrades out there for Boston. They've done well with the roster that they've had, I would say, this year, but they're never going to be spectacular. They've not taken any sort of ambitious approach to level up, let's say, this year, Boston Breach. And I think that's indicative of them kind of saying, you know what, like, that's it, right? Like, we'll see you next year, or we won't see you again at all, which is also another possibility. The other org being Ravens as well, really. We know that Gorillas wanted to go there, now gone. They've been bought out by Gentlemate. So, look, some other orgs will come in. The big rumour a while ago was that it was potentially going to be Saudi orgs, right? We're talking Twisted Minds, we're talking Alcatia Esports, potentially, and these are the 2 teams that we discussed. Now, that could well happen, right? Wouldn't be surprised if those teams are interested. Whether that is the teams that eventually buy the spot, if that's what we see, that's a different question, I would say, because these teams, there are other teams involved. I'm pretty sure there are other teams interested that aren't just Saudi organizations. And if you are the CDL and effectively you get some sort of veto right over this situation, then there may be a conversation to be had. But the point still stands. New orgs, we talked about it a few weeks ago now being a likely possibility. BenJ then says, like, yeah, this is happening, right? Like, there will be a couple of new organizations, it seems likely, coming in. At least that is still the rumor to the present day. And I think right now it's, I don't know, 85, 90% likelihood this will probably happen. It opens the door to new Rostermania, right? If the Saudi orgs do come in, will they, let's say, want to push a Saudi project like the Falcons have done? I'm not sure they'll be so interested in that, potentially, but they may just want to sign the best players and drop some bags to try and get some of the best players or the best teams. That is possible. The other organizations coming in could be opportunities to build around. Really, they're talking about FeLo here and whether he could get an option. And, let's say Slasher, if Ravens get sold and no longer an organization, then where does he go? Does he stay there? Could he go somewhere else? What does it mean for the likes of Kenny? These are other very interesting questions as well. So very much interested in your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Just one final thing to go through here, thought was interesting. Average LAN placement of the various teams between the first and the third majors. So Thieves have come first, second and fourth. They're averaging 2.3. FaZe have come first and sixth, averaging 2.7. then Toronto, then Surge, then Miami, right? Didn't have the greatest time at Major 2, but Major 1 they were, what, 3rd, and most recently they were 4th or whatever it was. So, yeah, very impressive from them. OpTic are the most consistent team in the league. They're 8th, 8th, 8th. Ravens are averaging 8th as well. Boston are averaging 8th, which is pretty interesting, of course, because they've got a couple of top 6s, but then one top 12, then Rocket, then Cloud9, then Gorillas, then Falcons. I mean, it's pretty much expected, isn't it, right? Very top-heavy league, what we might have thought it would have been. But it's interesting that Rocket and Cloud9, they need to, make top 3 bare minimum, probably make finals if they want to actually qualify for champs and win the whole thing. Right now, the numbers don't really make that look likely. This is the all-time numbers as well, bringing back some older organizations too, but I thought it was pretty fascinating. So hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.